What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now today we have a special one for you guys, as this was a Manufacturer Cup race that I did in my EMEA account around Tokyo Expressway. So this race was very interesting due to the fact that, one, it was a rain race, and with it being a rain race, there was some craziness that ended up happening here, as this was a race that we did earlier. And looking on the replay, you can see that 2, 3, 4 cars all lost it, including myself. 5, 6 more here down the main straight, and that was the number one thing that we were gonna have to try to avoid, and just make sure that we don't make that mistake of running over a puddle. So in the Subaru here for our Manufacturer Cup race, we decided to go on the intermediates for the qualifying, but what's not a good idea, as everybody that went out on the first lap on the hards was able to put in a really fantastic lap due to the fact that the track was still somewhat dry. And fortunately for us, we did not pick the right strategy. Qualified in P11, but doesn't mean that it's all lost here, since this is going to be a 12-lap race with progressive wet track dynamic, and I'll get to that a little bit later here as we jump into the race. So getting our 3, 2, 1, away we go, as again we are starting off in P11 right behind the German of Nick in the Viper. Getting into the slipstream immediately, we try to save some fuel right off the bat, since this was a fuel saving race, so that's another dynamic that we had to put into this race. But going into turn number 1, you can see that the track was a bit damp here, as the spray was starting to get pushed all over the place. But it still wasn't too bad, or as bad as it's going to get later on in the race. And when I said it was going to be a dynamic wet weather race, I mean that this racetrack is going to get a lot more damp and a lot more wet as it progresses on. And that led to a lot of interesting racing and a lot of interesting experiences that we're going to have to endure here as we come out of the hairpin for the first time, leaning our way down to the main straight to find ourselves into lap number 2. So off of the hairpin here, we were able to maintain our 11th place position, so nothing too crazy happened this first lap. I think right now everyone is just trying to get in the groove, make sure that they are not overworking their tires, making sure that they're not taking the incorrect lines, and just kind of getting themselves settled here, as the racetrack is going to just get worse and worse as the race progresses on. So it's best just to try to take it nice and easy, don't push it too much, and just try to stay with the leaders. But heading to the hairpin, unfortunately, these 3 cars up ahead had different ideas, that they misjudged their braking point heading into the hairpin due to the fact that the track got super wet. They really did not see where the braking point was at, and they braked just a tad bit too late, all went wide. And luckily for us, we were able to get around Luna due to that critical mistake, but we did get hit by Nick coming out of the hairpin. But as we head down to the straight, leaning our way into lap number 3, we get a really great run of the McLaren. We go onto the inside of the Frenchman of Saiba, both of us going onto the inside of Nick. Nick had nothing for us, as we just used up all of our fuel and all of our speed to try to get around him. And as we go into turn number 1, we're just keeping an eye on the fuel, seeing if we can go side by side with Saiba, but we back out to secure our position in 9th and follow the line right behind as we go into turn number 1. But coming off of turn number 1, we get a little punt from behind from Nick, and unfortunately due to that, he was able to sneak it onto the inside, go back onto turn number 2 here, and sneak his way back into 9th place position as we just fall in line right behind, not push the issue too much, and just see if we can stay right behind him, save some fuel, and hopefully we can catch back up to the Frenchman up ahead. But leading our way into lap number 4 now, as we head down the main straight, going down into the tunnel section. You can see that a couple of guys up ahead, or just one guy, had a penalty he had to serve. It was the McLaren. And he's going very slow, so not sure exactly what happened to him. I don't know if he made contact with somebody or made contact with the barrier, but it's going very slow. And due to that, we were able to gain a position, work our way now up into P9. And now we have Nick on our radar, and see if we can try to catch up to him here. So we try to shift the fuel mapping to 2 and 3 to save some fuel right at the end. But as we head back into the hairpin here on lap number 5, we had another McLaren that had spun out, And not sure if he just missed his braking point, as well as the track is now starting to get really bad here due to the rain coming down, or if he just made contact with the wall and just lost it. But either way, we're now up into P8, and we're starting to put in blue sector times here and putting PB lap times. And not only that, Nick right ahead of us has a 1 second penalty, or 1.5 second penalty, so we're gonna definitely capitalize on that here as we head into the hairpin. So our pace is not looking too bad, as the track is getting a lot wetter. And actually, I felt like it was actually helping us out a lot, because I was keeping an eye on the gap between us and the leader, and throughout the entirety of the race, or at least up till this point, we really had not lost that much time to the leader. It's been between the time difference of 6 and 7 seconds, and if we can keep it around there, that means that we are running a really good pace, as we have to swerve out of the way to avoid making contact with Nick and Eagle, as both of them served their penalties there. And wasn't expecting Eagle to have a penalty. I knew Nick had the penalty, so we were going to avoid him, but Eagle was sitting in the middle of the racetrack, did not see him until the last minute, and luckily we were able to swerve out of the way, even though he was ghosted, and avoid any type of chaos by running into the back of him in case if he accidentally unghosted right ahead of us. But now up into P Steve here on lap number 7, leading our way into lap number 8. Not too shabby of a race so far, but things are going to start taking a turn for the worst. As you can see, the rain is still coming down, but it's getting even more wet. As you can see on the bottom left, that the grip is starting to lessen here on the racetrack. Luckily, we're on the intermediate, so we should be hopefully all right, as long as it doesn't get past that second bar on tire grip. But not only that, in addition to the wet weather, we are also having a change in scenery here, as the daytime is now starting to transition into night. And that is going to throw a whole different monkey wrench here, as you can see the lights turn on here on the racetrack. And now we have to worry about it getting dark here on the racetrack, and also keep an eye on making sure that we don't accidentally run over a puddle and spin ourselves out like how we did on the beginning of the video. So things getting very treacherous here, as now we have Nick again right behind us, making up a lot of time. We try to brake as late as we can heading into the hairpin, and behind us you see that there's 3 cars now all forming a train here, and it was getting a bit treacherous here, so we almost lose the back end coming out of the hairpin. And as we come down to the straight, we now have Eagle right behind us, as he gets a really great run, uses a slipstream, goes onto the right, and Nick goes into the left. So now it's a 3 wide position here. We go into the back of Eagle, try to see if we can stay right behind him, utilize that slip, brake as early as we can, but unfortunately we missed our braking point just a tad bit, make contact with Eagle, sneak onto the inside as Nick stays onto the middle, 3 abreast, going into turn number 1, coming off of turn number 2 now. Keep it on the inside of Nick, but get punted from behind from Eagle, as he gets a little bit of payback on us. And I mean, I wasn't mad about that. I mean, I was kind of expecting him to give us a little bit of payback, but unfortunately for Nick, he gets hit from us and he goes straight into the wall. And I think due to that, he gets a 1.5 second penalty, or maybe he had it before, but now he's got to serve that penalty, and we have to pull away from Eagle here as we work our way now through sector number 2. But as we come out of sector number 2 and onto the main straight here on lap number 10, we were able to pull a gap away from Eagle, as we find ourselves here in 5th place position. Now catching up to Hamas right ahead of us. Just keeping an eye on the fuel, as we have about 2.9 laps left in fuel, but we only have basically 2 and maybe 3/4 of a lap left, or laps left in the race, so we should have enough to make it to the end. And I'm liking what I'm seeing here, just due to the fact that we're just gaining more and more on Hamas and those guys up ahead. And not only that, we're also starting to gain on the leader here. As you can remember, throughout the entirety of the race, we were about 6-7 seconds away from the leader, but now the gap has dropped down to about 5.5 seconds. So that is really good. That means that we're finding some pace here, and hopefully we can start fighting here for a podium if we can catch up to these guys right ahead of us. But unfortunately, there is only about 2.5 laps left, so time is ticking here. We really have to make something happen without overdriving the car and accidentally spinning ourselves out, as that is something that some people were known to do here on this race, especially on the first race that we did. So that's one thing I was trying to avoid. as we head down now out of sector number 2 and 3, leading our way down to the hairpin. You see the Eagle is starting to really catch up to us as he's got a really great run off of the S's. And coming down to the hairpin, he's all right behind us. He's about 3/10 away from us, but going to the hairpin, you can see that the Frenchman missing his braking point, and that allows for the Spaniard of Ministro to go onto the inside, go for a cutback, get the second place position away from him. But we get also taken advantage of right there by Eagle as he took a little peek onto the inside, almost made the move work, but we got better traction to him. And now leading our way down into lap number 11, you can see that one car goes into the inside into the pits, and that is Ministro. So that is the Spaniard going into the pits due to the fact that he did not save enough fuel. It's at 7% left, and we should be fine till the end as we have about 2.2 laps left of fuel. But now we're starting to get pressured over by Eagle here for P4, and we're gonna hold our line here as this was the dry line that we wanted to preserve. We didn't want to move our way to the left hand side. That's where the puddle's at. Eagle goes to the left, tries to make a move onto the outside, accidentally gets the wheels into the puddle and loses it. And now we have open track here as we are able to pull away from Eagle due to the fact that he just made contact with the puddle, lost it. And lucky for us, we weren't involved in his spin because it could have easily been us as well into the inside barrier, just due to the fact that if we would have just been just a millimeter off of the racing line, we would have struck that puddle as well, and we both would have been spinning out, and it would have been basically a bad day for us here. But it's still not over. We still have about a lap and a half left. We're now starting to catch up to the Frenchman, the Spaniard up ahead, and this is going to be for a podium here, as we were not expecting to race our way for a podium, but due to unforeseen circumstances, we now are up into P4, and we're just trying to close the gap now on Saiba as we come out of the hairpin for what will almost be the final time, as the next time should be the final time. But coming off the corner here, we accidentally dipped 2 wheels into the little puddle that was on the inside. We lose the rear, we spin out, head straight into the barrier, and this is not what we needed here as we lose all momentum that we had on trying to catch up to the podium. And not only that, we had 2 cars coming from behind, which was Eagle and Solid Ninja Snake. But luckily for us, Eagle did have to serve a penalty, so he had to serve that penalty. He loses all his momentum, but Solid Ninja Snake has a really great run here, so he didn't have to serve a penalty, and he didn't spin out either, so he has the momentum. He's in the slip, and we're just keeping an eye on the radar, keeping an eye on him, making sure that we can hold him off here. And going down to turn number 1, we're going to keep it on the racing line once again. So if Snake wants to go onto the outside or the inside, he's going to have to endure those puddles. But heading into turn number 1, he just didn't seem like he had enough of a drive and enough of momentum to catch up to us, as I think he just probably didn't have enough fuel, to be quite honest, so he had to put onto a higher fuel mapping. But we're able to hold him off going into turn number 1 and turn number 2, but still not over, as we still have to complete an entire lap without making any major mistakes. As we come out of the S's, the gap grows from about 0.3 seconds now to 0.6 of a second away from Snake. Leading our way to the hairpin is basically the final opportunity to go for an overtake. We go onto the inside, just make sure that we don't mess up the exit like the last corner. Try to stay away from that puddle. You can see we drive over it, but luckily we didn't slam on the throttle, and we're able to just ease our way down to the straight. And leading our way down now into the start-finish line here, we're gonna see if we can hold off Snake here, as we just have a bit more now. Is running down to the line, and it's gonna be a P4 here for our Manufacturer Cup race in the Subaru. And that was one of the most wicked races I've had here on Gran Turismo 7, as the changing dynamic of the track, the time, as well as having to keep an eye on the fuel, was just such a huge kerfuffle right here. It was just a lot of stuff going on all at once. I'm really shocked that we were able to make our way up 7 positions and find our way into P4 on this extraordinary race. So really a lot of fun here. Congratulations to Kean for getting, or Keon for getting the win here. But like I said, it was a lot of fun. This is why I've been just loving Gran Turismo 7, especially when we get these dynamic races. Hopefully we get more like this in the future for daily races, or even just future World Series races as well. But let me know how you guys did in this race in the comments down below. If you guys really enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit that like button, help us out in the YouTube algorithm, and hit that red subscribe button if you want to catch more content. Anyways, really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, I hope to catch you guys on the next one. Peace.